So it seems I wasn't heard. I just want to make sure that you can hear before I go ahead and because I'll restart the introduction and everything. Please don't worry. Sorry about that. I believe you can hear now. Look at the viewers. I see that. And thank you for those people who stuck around. So I'll start well introduction again. Um, Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to our African and Caribbean community. It's been far and wide. Um, Wherever you may be, we wish you peace, love, blessings, more, more growth, development, more life, more power. Um, and welcome to All Nations. Thank you for joining us and welcome to our platform. Um, I would like to run through a few disclaimers before we move forward. And firstly, it is that this channel is, and you can see our episode 1 for a full breakdown of our disclaimer. This is just in brief. First one is that this channel is designed for the growth and development of the African and Caribbean community. Um, we accept donations. We love the um, contributions of all nations as long as it's money while going to justice. In episode 1, we discussed our reasons for this and how it needs for us to together to bring our cultures together so that we can bring an equal footing with other nations and yeah, to be on equal footing with other nations. Second is that I am not a legal or historical professional, and anything we discuss on this show should be researched independently. And yeah, and the things that we do in the show should be researched independently. Number 3, while we intend to honor and acknowledge and gather inspiration from our historical background with regards to slavery, this platform does not overly push or seek any equal retribution for the fact that we've been through what we've been through. We'd rather focus our energies on bringing us forward and try to get us to unite to create a better future for our generation, for the generations to come. And 4 is that I have multiple tics, Tourette's. I may shout names like no, irregular noises, twitch. If I do that, please assist me by simply shouting out to Susie, and hopefully I can get over that pretty quickly. So moving forward, this week I decided that I'm going, or last week, I decided that I'm going to embark on a new journey in health wellness. If you listened to our show last week, you'll know that I have a few health issues, ongoing health issues, and I'm currently seeking appropriate treatment with my care. So I am trying to take it into my own hands to get healthy, and I will be starting the pen this week and embarking on a vegan or healthy eating lifestyle. I will be interviewing Fire, who's a herbalist and who's very knowledgeable in this field and has helped many people. Disclaimer is not a paid advertisement, and I am not advising anybody goes on this. I'm simply talking to my journey. If you're interested in following this journey, then you could do so on Instagram. I will be providing links, and Facebook and YouTube. I will provide weekly updates on this advise on how we can go about joining in or research the matter. And obviously, as time goes on, we'll continue to follow and continue to have rapport with him regarding this. An update on my case. So this week last week on Friday, I submitted Part 36 in the hope to get the NHS to respond. So if you follow it last week, you will know that I have a court case in the moment or two, and I haven't had any response. This was the initial motivation for me wanting to share the word and see if anybody else was going through the same. Terribly slowly. See if anybody else is going through the same. So what I also, as a mode of protection, I also have, in June or July, I have a lot more births that needed to be removed, and initially it was allowed to be removed by midway the way as suction. And throughout the progression of my care, it changed to you have to have surgery. So I'm actually against having surgery because I'm very scared of operation. This idea of the surgery came up after I did another surgery where they said I could be blind or have loads of side effects that were just this other side effects. In any case, this week, in an effort to bring closure to the case, I have submitted the Part 36. I really hope that you give this one within 21 days, and if not, that the court goes in court as I was able to do. At present, the court has not responded to my request for the full judgment, but I'm hoping in the future, near future, there is a reversal of the situation. Petition, our petition for better healthcare. And I just want to learn about the reasons behind this. Is that as minorities, we do receive poor healthcare. It's documented that we receive poor healthcare. In my experiences and in the experiences of a lot of the community around me, they've also acknowledged that they haven't been receiving the same healthcare as others around them. The benefit of this petition would be, do you know? Good afternoon, and can you drop me a comment to let me know if that's resolved the issue? I believe it's been resolved. It sounds like it's been better resolved now. Um, so I'm going to, I think, for ease of time with Instagram, I'm going to just proceed where we left off, and I'll probably drop a note to say what we was talking about a little bit earlier. I'm going to start from the aspect of. Sorry, I've been thrown a little bit because the vocal it couldn't be heard. But let me just start again, and we'll take it. We'll take it from the top. Sorry, it's a live show. You're with me for this journey. Um, so here we go. The recording should be a whole lot better than this live. So here we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to my Caribbean community, Caribbean and African community, spread far and wide, wherever you are. I wish you peace, love, more power, more growth and development. Welcome to all nations. Thank you for joining us, and again, welcome. Before we move forward, I'll give a disclaimer. If you would like to see our full disclaimer, please see episode 1 where we fully discuss and describe the reasons behind our disclaimers with regards to not speaking, not fully being integrated with the process of slavery within this platform. So, first disclaimer was that this platform is for the African and Caribbean community, specifically for their growth and development. While we welcome all nations, we hope that they join us to contribute to our mission and understand that the greater goal is for us to bring ourselves on the same, on an equal footing with other nations. Second disclaimer is that I am not a professional in history or law, and any information I provide or share on this show should be researched, not taken as gospel. Independent research is always a must, and I recommend it. We are able to assist with helping you with some um, uh, websites and places to go to get research, but we always advise you to take your own initiative and do the research. Three is that while we will be honoring, acknowledging, and gathering inspiration from the trials and tribulations of our ancestors, we are not specifically designed to speak about or to take any form of physical or kind of justice against what has happened. We want to focus our goals on making the future brighter for our generations to come. Um, yes. So that's there. Like I said, please visit episode 1 if you wish to see um, a better breakdown of that disclaimer. Now, the final disclaimer is that I have Tourette's, multifocal tics. May note that I twitch quite a bit, and every now and again I jerk and make loud noises. If I do that, please assist or say hi, Susie. We call her Susie because I'm literally not responsible for anything she says and does. Um, I will try my best to move us along swiftly. Every now and again, there will be that interruption. Hello, Dee. Thank you for joining, and thanks for confirming the sound. It threw me off for a little bit, but I think we're getting back on track. Thank you for your patience. Um, yeah, so that's that about Susie. Um, so this week I was letting you know that as part of this journey, I found it really imperative to not only try and empower people, but to empower myself. And I am taking the initiative to try and assist with my own healing by taking natural remedies, going down the herbalist route. I've met with a herbalist who will be coming to the show next week to have a discussion and to provide you with some information on the journey, on the process. If you wish to watch my journey and how I go with this and root me along and whatnot, then please follow me on Instagram. We'll also be providing weekly updates throughout the show. And this is me trying to be about it for me in my personal life, not just professionally trying to push forward an agenda or a movement for us. But in order for me to do that, I understand that I need to be in the best health that I can make appointments and make sure I'm available for this show every week and to utilize my areas of experience to better help the movement. So I am embarking on this journey. I'm really looking forward to meeting Fire on the show or to introducing him to you on the show. Um, I've got this Shungai chain from him at the moment, which I believe is working some serious. I think people need to see for themselves. But for me, I believe that I'm on a different path right now. I feel good and strong within myself. Today, when I leave this show, I will be starting my colon cleanse, which I am. It's a double-edged sword. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm not looking forward to it. I'm quite concerned at what it may bring forth to the so to speak. Okay, so move. That's the program. That's the new program for next week. That's what I'm doing, and I hope you can join me with this journey. Um, I just wanted to give a few updates. So the first update is about my claim. As you guys are aware, I do have a court case in two against the NHS, which was part of my inspiration for doing the show, partly out of fear because of the issues that's going on surrounding my case and the ongoing treatment I'm receiving. Um, I'm not sure I quite got to mention this in the last show. However, in July this year, I had a lump in my breast and I was informed that I needed to have surgery. Initially, the surgery was, they advised that I could have the surgery by suction, so I would be awake. With all what's going on in the NHS and the fact that I had been almost forced to have two other surgeries, which they've advised could have devastating consequences or results, outcomes, I refused to have that. And then I was pushed into this surgery, the breast surgery. So, sorry, let me explain that. So I refused the other two surgeries. Then I was advised that all of a sudden the suction surgery I could have for my breast, the lump in my breast, no longer could happen and that I needed to be put to sleep to have this surgery. Now, this is in the midst of the NHS not responding to any form of claim, or served my letter of claim or the served documents from the court. So that put me on a double-edged sword and say, well, I'm not going to have surgery with certain people that are being so negligent with me. So at present, I have a lump in my breast. I did have an appointment last week, and they're advising that it could be cancerous, it couldn't be cancerous. Whereas they told me earlier in the year that it's not cancerous. I have no idea, but I do know I'm not about to go under the knife with anybody that's abusing me. So this week I went forward and in accordance with the court, they requested that we try and resolve the matter and come to settlement. I took procedures to request a default judgment purely because they hadn't responded. So by default, that should mean that I win the case. However, the judge has not. I've not had, and I understand the court systems are terribly overloaded at the moment, and but in my own interest, my concern would be that they're allowing the other party to be able to put in a defense, which will push back my case and, in a sense, push back any redress I could get to deal with myself privately to pay for private healthcare. So I issued a Part 36, and they have 21 days to respond. And I did get some kind of confirmation from the court that they've got the 6th of January as a temporary date to commence proceedings. I'm hoping the default judgment gets put through that, or the Part 36 is heard. Now, I'd just like to explain to you what a Part 36 is. Part 36 is a document that can be used for disputes. So if you have a problem with a workplace, you can use this a workplace civil matters in general. If you have an issue that hasn't been resolved or you're going through dispute and you feel that you're rightly owed compensation, you can either issue a letter before claim or and issue a document which is called Part 36, which asks for the claim to be settled in its entirety or partially. So that you can forget the matter and move forward. In a Part 36, there's no acceptance of liability. So I have requested that they just pay me for redress, there's no benefit for me to seek their admission or apology at this point. So I basically want redress. And if you don't really care about the apology and you want to move forward with your case, then a Part 36 is definitely a point of research. So just put that down as a note, and we will address that later on. We will be discussing this, but for now, that was just relevant as it's covered my case. So definitely go ahead and put that in your back pocket. So that's the update on my case, is that we currently have a Part 36 in. We're waiting for 21 days to see if the NHS gets back to us. And if they do, then hey ho, that's great. If they don't, then I'm hoping that the court steps up and does their default judgment, as I've already submitted the documents required to do such. And if that doesn't go through, then I'm guessing that we're going to court on the 6th of January, which I'm not sure how I feel about it, but I guess it will reveal itself as time goes on. And so the next thing I wanted to discuss was the petition. I have a petition out, and it's about healthcare. It's about seeking better healthcare for individuals, well, for people. Sorry, it's not about receiving better healthcare. It's about receiving compensation and redress for people that receive injury in healthcare settings. Um, the initial petition I put forth, as some of you may know, was requesting that um, minorities are actually, sorry, the initial petition stated that minorities were actually the reasoning behind it, advising that minorities receive lesser treatment than other communities. And that was rejected and replaced uh, crossing the board, which I actually have no problem with, because it never meant to exclude anybody from the running. It just was aimed and done for, or done with, the Black and African or Caribbean and African community in mind. However, we need numbers, people. We have 46 signatures. This is a very important move for us as minorities within the system, because we receive the worst healthcare, and if it is noted that we start getting compensation for these issues, then it affects the pocket of the NHS, and in return, they are forced to look at the reasons for them having to spend great amounts of money in compensation, there, whereby increasing the likelihood of us getting better treatment. So I do request that everybody shares this petition. Please sign. I have already put the petition in the link, so in the description down below. So please do have a look. Um, yes, please do have a look. Um, so today's topic, as you can see in the heading, is the importance of knowing your rights. Um, when when we don't know our rights, we allow so much to slip by, things we feel powerless about, and whatnot. This country is built upon laws and systems. So you need to find yourself as part of that system in order to get compensation. I'm deeply saddened by an issue that happened with a 2-year-old, Awaab Ishak, who was having respiratory issues due to disrepair in his home. Disrepair is anything from mold, damp, leaking pipes, windows that are not sealed, anything that contributes to your health or to the disruption of the property. And if there's any damage to the structure of your property, you are entitled to a level of compensation for that. So just to let you know, that is, yeah, what we mean by the disrepair. So Awab Ishak, 2 years old, living in a house with disrepair and has contracted respiratory issues. This seemed to be going on for a number of years. Now, I have noted that a lot of news reports and have advised that this is all down to housing and it's just a housing issue. And I agree completely, it's a housing issue. Laws need to be reformed around housing. However, as the mother of the child, there's a few things that she could have done, and it's not. known. It's not just out there for everybody to know what's going on. So I think these platforms, we need to start making it available to everybody. So in her situation, there's the disrepair protocol. Number one, there's several legal firms that offer to help. And I would always recommend you go to them first because they've got the knowledge and the know how, and it alleviates you from any stress you may face going through a claim, as claiming is very stressful indeed. Um, so that would be the first thing. And also, they pay for an expert report for you. However, if you're not able to access that, you find they're delaying and you're suffering throughout this time, you can also issue a claim. You could also um, issue a claim and request that a surveyor comes to your property. Once you've done it on a specific document, your landlord has no alternative other than to carry out the appropriate procedures, which automatically would mean you either be seen to get done and hopefully get rehoused, or the matter will be resolved. Secondly, you can report this to your environmental health. Usually, it mostly helps those who are in private accommodation. However, that is also a long drawn out process, but it is something that can be done. And also, there's something called a Section 17. And Section 17 is a document that you could forward to social services as a legal document asking them to carry out an assessment in the best interest of the child. Um, in this case, it would be because the housing, the conditions of the housing is having an impact on the child's health, which would have been supported by the documents of the medical professionals. So that's one side of this case, and that's straightforward. Everyone's talking about it. But I really want to highlight that this child was in hospital. He was in hospital on several occasions, and they took the opportunity to write to social services, write to housing, and advise that this child was facing medical difficulties, respiratory difficulties, because of his living conditions. Now, I say to you, if this child was getting beaten by his mother, if there had anything untoward was happening to this child, the hospital would have held this child, as the hospital has the rights to do that, has the power to do that. So, under no circumstance should they have discharged this child to a home that was unsuitable for him. So I do believe that the NHS have a lot to answer for this as well. However, it's been swept under the carpet because it's gone over to housing. So what I would like to say to anybody that's in this type of situation where they feel that even a child, adult, elderly, and you believe that your home or home environment is not any beneficial to you, and you are in a hospital setting, you've been admitted, I advise you that they are not allowed to discharge you to an accommodation that's not suitable, or if you do not have an accommodation, to just charge you to go and live on the streets. There are protocols in place, and those need to be adhered to. So I would recommend anybody that's in that situation, as the mother of Awaab Ishak, I would recommend that if he's in hospital, you don't leave the hospital, you ask for a social services report to be done to ensure that appropriate housing is met. Secondly, you could also issue your own claim. And then you have services like Civil Mackenzie Friend. Civil Mackenzie Friend is a company that I own, and we specialize in assisting litigants in person. We help you help yourself. And there are a few other platforms that we will be speaking to over the weeks and joining. Um, so that is where on that matter, I believe that more could have been done, but I do not believe it's just from the housing. I believe that it was a holistic approach that needs to be had. He was in a hospital. There was no reason for him to be discharged from the hospital and to an accommodation that was only going to worsen his conditions. The doctors were aware of that because they seemed to write to social services and advise them of this. And again, if you are in this predicament, please do not allow yourself to be discharged. You can refuse to be discharged. You can advise that you're not taking the child from the hospital. You can advise or request a social services report. And if you cannot get the assistance that you require there, please seek legal assistance. If that cannot help you, then you have platforms like Civil Mackenzie Friends. There are many of us out there. Please make contact with us. I will put a link to our company in the comments or when I repost this live stream. Yes. Um, So I say, why is it important for us to be part of a community? Why is it important for us to grow and develop? Well, first and foremost, um, shared knowledge, strength, motivation, help, wealth, the list goes on. There's massive benefit in us becoming one. I want to give you an example of a YouTube page, a following. So let's say I'm doing this program now, Black Table Talk Show. Imagine I had 1 million followers, right? I had 1 million followers. So in my case, what I really want is for petitions. I'm seeking for petitions to make change for our community. So just like the petition I've got live now, there'll be several more coming in. Some of them will be your suggestions, some of them will be what we believe should just be happening, and we'll see how progression goes. But let's say I have 1 million viewers, 1 million followers, 1 million subscribers. I come to this today and I put a petition in the group. By the next day, this petition has the potential to have 1 million signatures. You need 100,000 signatures to be heard in Parliament, 10,000 for an acknowledgement. This speeds up our growth and development. This is what I want. This is my mission. So this is what I would do. However, there may be somebody else in that group decides that they're going to open a podcast, a furniture shop, healthcare products, provide legal advice. Sky's your limit, who knows? But automatically, they've got 1 million followers because everybody in this group is following everybody in that group. Now, just visualize this going and so on and so on and so on. If you are in a group of 1 million people, it's like a sorority, you have 1 million cheerleaders. 1 million cheerleaders that could push you forward. Just imagine the extent of growth that we could have as a people just by supporting each other, just by accessing people's platforms, pushing it. Whether you believe in the mission entirely or wholeheartedly, it's about supporting and encouraging each other to have the growth and development that we need to be able to provide our own services, our own platforms in order for us to progress. I'm going to take a short break and then I will be back and where we'll be discussing or calling on our Windrush generation to help us to make a difference within society for our future generations and to leave the future, to leave behind a place that we'd like to see our children and our children's children live in. I will be back with you within 2 minutes. Thank you for staying tuned. and for holding. Um, Great information. I'm back on. Okay, thank you. Yes, so today's show's been a little bit interrupted. A lot's gone on, and I'm already reaching my 1 hour limit for Instagram. So I'm not going to keep you too much longer, but I just wanted to know, is there anything that anybody feels that they would like to see happen within this show? Um, has anyone got any suggestions? Next week we will be having Herma Emmanuel on the show to discuss her transition through um, the Windrush, the effects of the Windrush, so to speak, from being left in the Caribbean to transitioning to life in the UK. And yeah, we really hope that you guys can join us for that. Again, like we said, we've got Fire coming in to speak to us about healthy living lifestyles and how to go about cleansing your colon, um, and just taking really mild steps to becoming a better, healthier you. Um, and yeah, I wanted to have a quick discussion about the uh, Windrush generation. And if we have anybody in here who has any experiences with the Windrush generation, please comment. We will get back to those comments. Um, is there anything anybody would like to contribute? Okay, so um, yeah, like I said, unfortunately, I've run out of a bit of time due to the speakers and whatnot today, but I do hope to bring this back in next week and give you a full on show, better show, um, without any interruptions. Um, so for now, I will just say, um, yeah, for now, I will say stay strong in your goals and objectives. Please assist our program, our mission. Um, and please let us know if you believe, if you're facing any difficulties or discrimination that you feel could have been handled differently. And if you need any assistance, please contact us. We have a few professionals on board who's willing to help alongside this mission. Um, we look forward to seeing you next week. We look forward to hearing your opinions and views. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for being patient with this process that I'm going through. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon.